There we go. Right, I'll sort that out. Actually, do you know what? I'm going to turn the tyre thing off. Yeah, there you go. Turn the tyre thing off, then turn the gap to leader on. Actually, do you know what? No. Fast laps. Right, we're here then for qualifying for Retro Racing League. As you can see, we're on F124. We're looking at the Brawn car going over the Dunlop corner. Just behind that we have Tim-N and Matty as well. Tim-N in the 2020 Mercedes. Matty in the also glorious Jordan. Referencing the mid-2000s. But yeah, if you haven't clocked on already, these cars are all retro cars. All retro recreations of cars. There's been a bit of a moment there for Devons there. I'm not too sure what happened there. There's a couple more cars coming out, and all teams back to life in F1 League Racing. As a form, oh, into the wall there goes DX RCS, and DX RCS now has two X's over his eyes because that was a huge impact that has taken him out of qualifying. And I have to say, that was a very impactful crash, I must say. Through the S's, but not one that he would like to make here in qualifying if he wants to be anywhere up in the top 4. That was a very impactful crash, I must say, through the S's, but not one that he would like to make here in qualifying if he wants to be anywhere up in the top 4. We have Phoenix on his outlap, and we have our first 2 men on proper laps. We have the Brawn car, which won in its first race as it goes through first curve, and on the same weekend as the Intercontinental in the second sector. And as he heads round the last corner out the Casio Triangle over the line, it's a 1:29.6 as the benchmark. It means the Mercedes of Tim-N's going to be the next one to cross the line. He looks like he's aborted the lap. I think he has, so this isn't going to be very representative of his pace. He's nearly 10 seconds off the pole time after that first run. So now we have Matty in the Jordan, one of my personal favourites. Used to be run by Eddie Jordan back in real life F1, but now is under the ownership of Matty, who goes to P2, 2 tenths off the pole time. In P2 at the moment. As meanwhile, the Ferrari, you can see in the background, Phoenix goes to third, 1:30.8, a second behind the Jordan here. Obviously, Eddie Jordan this year, he did sadly pass away. Rest in peace for Eddie Jordan. I really love Jordan, and always support Aston Martin and Force India and all that, mainly due to them being the aftermath of Jordan, as Jordan got bought out by Spiker, Midland, then Force India, then Racing Point, then Aston Martin. Yeah, Eddie Jordan, he was always fun to watch on Channel 4, and yes, he's really blessed the F1 grid with one of the great teams. As meanwhile, one of the great laps here by James, who goes 3 tenths ahead of Devons for the pole time in his Benetton. So we have 2 Benettons on the grid. We have James and Missile, as you can tell by the B-Tech versions of the symbol. So we're really making use of the Casio Triangles inside curves. He comes over the line. He goes 6 tenths off the pole time. He's getting ever closer to that P3 of Matty, who's currently 5 seconds down on his lap. James, though, is on another lap, as Phoenix is out. Phoenix is retired from the session down at first curve. But into the Casio Triangle on the X-Hill 130R. He hits 1, he hits 2 points of the Casio Triangle. He now goes through the 3rd point, which is this long run to the line. That takes him no faster. It looks like he's going on another lap though, so we'll keep an eye on that. Meanwhile, I think Matty as well is looking like he's going to go in or tube up for another lap. Devons retires. Devons done for the day. He reckons Matty is not able to dethrone him off the pole time. Yeah. I'll try and say people are twisted a lot to remember you. Alright, Twist. But Yeah. It's over the line. That is the end of qualifying then for Retro Racing, the inaugural round. Yeah, we'll do. But yeah, that's the end of qualifying then. The whole field separated by at least under 10 seconds. That's from first to sixth. Obviously, the seventh place man didn't set a time. Yeah, looks like a very close grid then. We have a couple of DNFs, a couple of people retiring. As we had some invalidations for, we had some warning for track limits and speed limits and all that stuff. No pit stops, even though people did go back to the garage, but the game doesn't count that. Spinny spin on the S's, yep. The Dunlop S has that run to spoon. So yeah, if you hear me saying that in the race, at least you know well I'll be talking about it. But here we go, 1, 2 lights, 2 green lights, and formation lap is underway for Retro Racing, and there's been some old school stalling from an old school team. As for the Ferrari of Phoenix goes down. I don't know if there's any predictions through, so hang on, someone's off at the anti-bank curve. Missile Lewis off at the anti-bank curve, which is this corner that he's rejoining now, and he's reset to the grid. Not too sure why, but he has been unformationed from the formation lap. Interesting. That's going to mean his tyres are cold. As we see the top 5 very close together, and then you have DXR CS, who's all the way down as his fellow Benetton. The Brawn though as well, catching up to his P2 grid slot. Then we have the Jordan, the Ferrari, the car that is now the car that is kind of the ashes of Brawn, the Mercedes, and then here we go then. 5 lights on, 5 lights here for Retro Racing. We're away. And it's a pretty decent start for the Williams. It's a great start for the Jordan. Goes past the Benetton, who's had an absolute shocking start. He's barely moved off the grid. As meanwhile, Matty up into P2. The Brawn takes the lead. The £1 car takes P1. There's a spin for the Ferrari and the Mercedes. The two of the 3 current teams on the real life F1 grid are both round at turn 1. Off wide goes the second of the Benettons. That's Lewis Missile, who's missiled it into the gravel trap. The Ferrari of Phoenix being hit like a menace by the Mercedes of Timen, as the Williams here side by side with the Ferrari, and the Dunlop S wide there for Timen in the Mercedes. But there's battling here for the top 3, as I predicted in qualifying. But it's not what I expected. James getting a poor start in the Benetton. I think there's battling as well, as into the back of the Williams goes the other Benetton of Lewis. Meanwhile, Devons and the Jordan side by side. Matty and Devons side by side. It's Brawn versus Jordan, heading up 130R. Side by side. We go on board with James, who's just behind this battle. We have the other Benetton having a little scrap behind as well. Lewis Missile. Mentors down the inside. Contact for the Jordan. Nearly round, but the Brawn fending them off. Incredible racecraft by these 3. As into the pits comes the other Benetton of Missile Lewis. Meanwhile, the Hobby Drummer. Meanwhile, the Hobby Gravel Trap Explorer of Timen goes into another one down at the hairpin just before 200R. As the Benetton of James went a bit wide there. We look from the rear end of the Jordan, the rear end of the Brawn. We see the Jordan catching, reeling us in, but he's not able to make a move yet, is he? As we head down into the Casio Triangle, the possible race strategies being starting on the mediums is a 1-stop on lap 25 to 23, and it's also a 2-stop as well. That's being predicted by the AWS graphic. As round the outside of the first corner goes Matty, who takes the lead back for Jordan. But the Brawn looking on the inside, the Loop Brawn looking for the move on the inside of first. So it looks like Missile Lewis is trying to catch up to DXR CS as Matty sets the fastest lap in the Jordan, but he's not going to be fast enough with the straight line speed to fend off the DRS powered Brawn. And Brawn in its first race with DRS, it was back in 2009. It didn't have DRS, but it did have KERS, which it's using to great effect. Obviously, it's under a different name now, under ERS, but it's still pretty much KERS. And there's Matty being fended off as into the gravel there for Devons. He's broken under pressure. They're side by side into the hairpin, round the outside. He's made the move stick, but has he? As there's the benefit of James. James is spun into the hairpin, and that's the wrong way into the hairpin, my pal. But meanwhile, we have the Brawn back behind the Jordan, and it looks like James fell under trying to catch up to James. James, the one shot between the Benetton, who passes the Williams through the hairpin, but they nearly touch as the Williams breaks hard into the hairpin. Meanwhile, the Jordan swallowed up again by DRS. And for the second time, to DRS himself past Matty, who goes round the outside with the S's.
Brilliant, nice move, keep going.
Through the downhill pass, the Denmark curve, shall I say, the undulation of that corner, and then through the Degner, the first apex, then the second apex, as the Degner curve is actually meant to be one corner with two apexes, and Matty's saying he needs to be P1 as down the outside and sliding for Devons. Devons drifting at the hairpin, and that has cost him around about 0.8 of a second from his win. Something happened between 5th and 6th. They both pitted. Looks like they did. Missile Lewis is on hards. I think that means that Williams is in the pits as well. I know Lewis lost his front wing early doors. Not too sure what happened to the other person that pitted. Let's see, James. He's had a bit of a rocky start. He's had a farcical start, but hopefully he's able to claw that back in the remaining few laps of this Grand Prix, as there is a lot of laps left of this Grand Prix. Has to be said, as Matty pulling away from Devons. He's backing out at the moment. Maybe Devons is going through a bit of tyre grading, or he's just saving his ERS. And if any team knows how to work their KERS or their ERS, it would be Brawn, as they won the championship the first year it was brought into F1. Back in 2009, they brought in KERS to be used. As the Jordan, obviously, didn't have any KERS, didn't even have DRS back in the day. Just had old school drafting. As meanwhile, there's an old school spin for the pole sit up. He's going to get passed by the Ferrari on the outside just before Degner corner. As James now on a chase to catch the Scarlet Red Ferrari. Meanwhile, there's a battle through 200R for Devons and Matty. TCL Matty in the slipstream, in the draft, and on the outside of first curve to take the lead if he can hold the momentum, which he's just about able to do. Contact with the Jordan into the S's, but the Brawn stays in the lead, takes the lead from Matty while that was happening. We have wide there for the Brawn. The Jordan's going to go through. Matty taking the lead back from the Brawn, who had it for a mere few corners. He had it for the whole first sector, but he couldn't keep it heading into the second sector of the 7th lap of this race. As through Sodium, a place where they haven't been as the Jordan name since 1998, but the Brawn's going to take it away from them. As inside goes Devons, and taking that opportunity away from Matty for the time being. James taking the fastest lap in this Benetton is his redemption. We have the might of Eddie Jordan versus the might of Ross Brawn, and they're side by side into Spoon Curve here in F124. And on the inside goes Matty, who takes it at Spoon Curve, but he goes wide on the exit, and he's going to let the Brawn back through as they go over the secondary start line. as the Jordan takes back the advantage. He fends off the Brawn, who's been on his tail all lap. But heading into the Casio Triangle, the Brawn not letting the Jordan have a whiff of a breath. Meanwhile, we have the Williams. There's a bit of traffic here. Meanwhile, on the outside, with DRS and Slipstream and probably a bit of Kers, the Brawn gets back in front for... Oh, and there's contact there! I think the front wing's gone off. On the Brawn it has. There's a virtual safety car. The Williams has taken the Brawn's front wing off. And in a very Nakajima-like move, DXRS has changed the entire complexion of this race. And there's damage on the front wing as well for Matty. Absolutely insane. Also, while we were watching that, the Benetton has called up to the Mercedes of Timen. But James has also fended off the Ferrari. This is going to change the entire complexion of the race. Who's missiled over track limits too many times. As meanwhile, top outside on the VSC, on the full course yellow restart, into Spoon Curve, and on the inside again, and they both go off the track. The Brawn stays around the outside, but doesn't have the grip. I reckon they'll both be into the pits this lap then. Very uncharacteristic stuff here. So heading into 130R. Drama for Jordan and drama for the Brawn. The Brawn going inside exit. They both come into this, they do. Both go into this. Both just about get within the both go into this.
Okay, you got
James and the Benetton is going to take the lead of the Japanese Grand Prix here in Retro Racing. Then comes the Ferrari of Phoenix. Then out ahead of the Brawn goes the Jordan. Then behind those two coming out the pits is the kind of the younger brother of Brawn, the Mercedes. Is there going to be more drama for these guys? There nearly is. Slowing up again on the apex. As we look from the behind of... I think there's just been a change of position here. There is Timen and Lewis. Lewis has a broken front wing, but he's going to go down the inside. It's very... Well, there was optimism there, but it didn't really turn out to anything. As meanwhile, there's a yellow flag for that. Down at Sector 1. But here at Sector 3, there's two battles here. One for the podium, one for the win. As heading through 130R with the Ferrari, who's half second back. That's not going to be a move made. Here's the Brawn, the 2009 Formula 1 Constructors World Champion, battling against a team that hasn't won a Grand Prix race since 1998 with Damon Hill. But now they have a chance to do it again here in league racing format. But that drama with the Williams may cause... We have the Williams here, kind of being a bit of an LMGT3, and he slows up on the apex again. And that might compromise the Brawn, as on the inside of the little kink before the hairpin is the Jordan, who locks the rear tyre. Nearly spins. These two, even though they're not battling for the actual race win, are still battling as if it's the World Championship last lap. As the Brawn stays ahead. And then off the whitened line car, as they head out the Casio Triangle, they both... It's like a similar battle to Alesi and Senna back in Adelaide, as they go down. Oh no, it was Phoenix, wasn't it? But meanwhile, the Brawn goes around the outside. Meanwhile, James on the back of the Ferrari heading into 130R. Is he going to make the move stick? No, but we're heading into the Casio Triangle, and he spins! Huge spin for the Benetton, who rear-ends the barrier, it looked like. And the Ferrari's lead goes from under a second to over 4 seconds. As now, would that be rear wing damage for James, do you think? Not too sure. There was a spin for a Sauber in F120 in an F125 league, ground effect racing league. Spin for a driver course towards the end. This has been all race so far between these two great manufacturers, and they're still going for it. The Jordan on the outside taking the lead ahead of the Brawn. and the team that and the Jordan, which took a pole position away from the Brawn back in 2009 under the Force India name, with Giancarlo Fisichella, has now lost that position again as James is right again. No, it's Missile in the Benetton. That was nearly drama that time, and it looks like they could do it again as heading into the Casio Triangle. Inside for the Jordan, outside for the Brawn. Who's going to take the lead this time? It will be Matthew, who comes out in front in this battle. Meanwhile, for the actual race lead, the Ferrari defends to the inside, but scooping to the outside in a very Fernando Alonso-like move is James, who takes it ahead of the Ferrari. So the Benetton back in the lead. It's 1-6 for Benetton at the Ferrari on the inside of 130 yard takes the lead of the race, and he forces the Benetton off the track. In doing so, they're heading into the Casio Triangle. He went through on the inside, but it looked like he picked up understeer there and just carted his rival out wide. But obviously, this being 2024 regulations, he got to the apex first, so he's allowed to do it. Meanwhile, on the outside, on the grass, that's a bit messy there for the Benetton, who doesn't get ahead. He faked to the inside, he went to the outside afterwards, hit the grass, hit the Ferrari side pod, and didn't make the move stick. Meanwhile, these two battling like Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi in Star Wars Episode 3, which was an absolutely frantic duel of attack and defense. They're doing the F1 version of that, and the Brawn on the grass. He doesn't go off, luckily, but that battle nearly came to a grim end here on around lap 8, as heading down 130 are here side by side with the Benetton, who's alongside the Ferrari. They go up to about 200 kilometers an hour, and round the outside for the Ferrari. He stays ahead momentarily, but heading into the Casio Triangle, the Benetton, the Ferrari got wide there. The Ferrari got wide, that's going to leave him vulnerable. The Brawn gets back ahead of the Jordan Amati, who looks like he had a bit of traffic trouble. Meanwhile, the Benetton gets up to the lead, and without any grass work, without any fancy around the outside stuff, just a simple textbook move that gives him the lead of the race by 0.3 of a second. And also, he doesn't want to risk too much as well. Good drama, as there's a lot of dust being kicked up there. That might have been from Timan up ahead, who looks like he's going to become the third piece of traffic in this four-way battle. As wide for the Jordan on the gravel. Not a recommended line through there as a lock-up for the Benetton. The Ferrari's looking to capitalise, but in doing so, he's actually gone wide there, left the Brawn a wide open door, and the Mercedes nearly making contact with the Benetton there. That was hairy. As meanwhile, we have the Ferrari and the Brawn going side by side. We have the Mercedes going wide, the Brawn going past its younger brother, or younger brother team, should I say, is to the inside, and the two teams that Ross Brawn used to work for and has won championships with are now dueling it out here in retro racing for second place here in Japan, and at the place where Michael Schumacher won Ferrari's first championship since 1987 with Jody Scheckter. In 2025 is going to be the place where FedEx will lose the place to the Brawn of Devons, as losing the car there is the Benetton. I think I got the 1987 thing wrong. I think it might have been a bit later than that. Might have been 1990, I'm not too sure on that one. But we head through the S's with these four drivers, and they have gone together. Matty has closed up, and the Williams again causing issues as there's chaos and round for the Ferrari for the second time in this race. The Brawn goes round as well. The Williams and the Brawn come into blows for the second time in this race. Nearly contact for the fifth place car of the second Benetton of Mr. Lewis. James gets front wing damage. Matty has an open goal, as he has no damage from that chaos. That Williams has caused an absolute scene for the second time in a row. That is chaos. Chaos if I've ever seen it. As the Williams I am speechless. That was pure traffic issues if I've ever seen it. I haven't seen traffic issues like that since the Dacia Logan of the Nürburgring 24 hours. Okay, I'm back and better than ever. Have to say as well, while we're in the safety car, I may as well do this now. Just gonna shout out fellow. I'm in a college drama group, and someone from the drama group today auditioned for. I think it was Matilda, if I'm not mistaken. And they said it went well. So we wish them luck and congratulations on an audition. And we hope that they get the part. Obviously, me not being the most theatrical kid in the world, but you know, I don't really do many shows. I mean, the only shows I've really done are like school plays. So yeah, but yeah, we wish them well. Well, I wish them well, and yeah, it's off for a quick second. Have a look at. And now as there's touching with the Williams there and the Ferrari, but we get back to green flag running, and the Jordan side by side with the Benetton over the line as Michael Schumacher's first two teams roar into turn one, and James holds the lead. No, he doesn't. He goes wide with the understeer of not having a front wing, and that's a huge shunt. Huge shunt. Lewis is out. Massive crash for Lewis. We saw one of the Benettons losing the lead. We've seen another Benetton lose his entire wheel. Let's just see the aftermath of it there. How was that not a safety car? I will never know. But the Brawn here looking to challenge the Ferrari. They both too didn't repair their wing, or have just lost it now after that carnage with the Benetton. As meanwhile, speaking of a Benetton, the only Benetton in this race now. As the Jordan locks up, the Benetton locks up, the Ferrari locks up, the Brawn doesn't lock up, that smashes it into the Ferrari and spins. Devons having a spin, and is he beached? No, he's not. He's waiting for the Williams. Nice outcut. There's wide as well for the Mercedes. Lap 22 being a lap for drama for everyone, it looks like. I'm gonna say bar Matty, but if he has drama now, this will be very ironic. As the Williams there as well, ahead of the Brawn, as there's a bit of a wide moment there through 200R for the Mercedes. Third penalty of the race so far. Into the pits for Devons. Not being his race so far. He went from battling for the lead to now cruising down the pits with a broken front wing. We have James struggling with his retrospective broken front wing. We have the Jordan and Matty, who has an absolute open door to score massive in the opening stage of this race, or the opening stage of this championship, as the land of the rising sun sees the re-emergence of Jordan at the moment, as out for Tim Enns, who's gone into the wall at the Dunlop curve. If we see from the Williams, we might be able to see him in the background. He's gone off at the Dunlop curve the second time he's DNF'd at that race, that corner. This today, he crashed there in qualifying and DNF, and he's crashed there in the race. Safety car in this lap. We have the view of Devons, we have the view of Matty, but now we have the view of James, and we go again. Jordan has a car in between him and James as the traffic gets dealt with, heading down into first curve. Matty leads ahead of James, then comes the Ferrari of Phoenix, then comes the Brawn of Devon. And as I'm commentating in Plymouth, which is in Devon, and there's contact with Devon on the back of the Ferrari, and that's something that Italians will miss out on seeing for the time being. Kimi Antonelli in a Ferrari, but round the outside of the Brawn on the Ferrari, side by side, the Brawn unlaps himself on the Ferrari, And unlike Esteban Ocon back in 2018, he does do it without taking out the guy he's unlapping. As heading here with Matt. Do you reckon we give Jordan and the Ferrari? The Jordan's still lagging. If his lag issues were an engine failure, he would have completely smoke bombed the entire grid. And that teleporting from 2 laps ago. Look, there we go again. Another teleport. That's more reliability issues in terms of his internet. Cut away from looking at a wall. That's also when you know it's back as well as the camera work thinks he's in a different place to where he actually is. Has been slapped harshly with a pen. Meanwhile, there's traffic with the Williams and the Brawn, who have more contact with the Brawn and the Williams, and the Brawn's been taken off by the Williams has been taken off by the Brawn. And I can't say the Williams and the Brawn have any love loss. And oh, he's lagging as well. The Williams and the Brawn, those two are going to have a rivalry like I've never seen before. So I reckon that will be 10 penalty points and a 12 place grid penalty for the next race then. But Matty, 7 seconds ahead of the penalty-stricken Phoenix, but it does have lag issues. James around again at the Casio Triangle. I don't know what he's doing there, but it looks like he found dancing on ice there. And I'm just getting word that Craig, oh no, that's Strictly. Hang on, let me rephrase that. It looks like he's found Strictly Come Dancing on the outside of that corner, and I'm getting word that Craig Gravelhall is giving him a 7. And he's keeping the strong gap, but he's also got a bit of a gap from the connection of his satellite signal and his internet pool. I don't know anything else about internet stuff, but he's got 3 laps left to do. But look at how much he's teleporting. That is a big worry. Very tense stuff in the Jordan garage. As again, James doing more Strictly Come Dancing out of the Casio Triangle. As Craig Gravelhall gives that a 5 out of 10. And I think Susie Bell has given that a 3. That's a bit of a harsh one, but we head through turn 1, or otherwise known as first curve here at Suzuka, with Jenna a week later. But here we go then, the last 4 corners of this race. One of them's completed now by Matty. It's been a dominant performance. He struggled in qualifying, started 3rd. He had a great start, and he's executed the race to perfection. Matty wins the Japanese Grand Prix here in Retro Racing, and Jordan take a return to the podium as the Ferrari behind takes 2nd place. That's Phoenix in 2nd. Devons a lap down, gets into P4, and the Benetton of James is the next one to cross the line in his green coloured clothing company sponsored Benetton. What a race by Matty, although it could have gone the way of anyone. I reckon all the people in the top 4 could have won this race, but coulda, woulda, shoulda. That is racing. Sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. James out of the final corner takes Benetton's first podium since 1995, if I'm not mistaken. So a great race for the Benetton. The Ferrari driver of Phoenix gets driver of the day. Weirdly enough, his suit looks like the Marussia team suit. Thanks for the nice comments in chat. So nice race. We see the Brazilian, and the Estonian. I think that's the flag of Estonia. I might be wrong. It's the Paul Aaron flag. So that's all I know. we see the champagne being sprayed. God, I would love a sip of that. Hopefully Pete joins next time. Who knows? I need to figure out how I can hear him, and I hope he's streaming, because obviously if I'm streaming him, I don't know, I might sort a few things out. But that's the race then, that's the result. I'm going to leave the result there for a minute or two. So 15 seconds separating the two leaders of Matty and Phoenix. Then comes the Benetton James. Then comes Devons in the Brawn, who set the fastest lap of the race. He will get an extra point for the fastest lap in P4. Then in P5 comes the Williams, the drama man, the man who caused all the drama. Then comes Timon in the Mercedes, and then comes the Missile Lewis in P7 out of 7 here in Japan. The inaugural race of the championship here in Retro Racing has been ridiculous, but it has been a joy to watch. I'm gonna wait till 15 seconds left to close the results. There we go. Have a look at race director. But look at incidents, there's been too many. Okay, yeah, doesn't matter. So that's the race then. Missile. He was a missile at some points, but he got absolutely missiled by another car that took his wheel off and sent his wheel to Mars, it looked like. It was a huge jump. Yeah, we see the Ferris wheel spinning in the background. Going round, similar to the cars that were going around this figure of 8 track. Matty teleporting everywhere. The pleasure's mine for commentating on this race, I must say. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Yeah, all good. Thank you very much. Don't know if I'm doing anything now, but probably not. Might edit some videos, but yeah, thank you very much. I'll see you if I'm free next weekend. Yeah, that's all I got for now. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, thanks for all the positive messages, by the way. So really appreciate it. But yeah, my YT, it's Joseph saying I'll get all the videos and the clips. I'll send them into the Discord when I've done them, like I normally do for all the other leagues that I commentate on other days. So yeah, I'm gonna head. Be nice on the stream, and I'll see you all in the next one. Ciao, ciao.